Hello guys, look where I am. I'm gonna pull up the chat on my laptop. Feels good to be down in the fish room. I've actually spent all morning down here today, probably doing way more than I should be, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Thank you, Eleanor. I'm feeling a bit better. They changed my meds, or actually they doubled them. To control the nerve spasms, and I'm getting around way better today. Now I have to be careful to not overdo it because I am feeling better. But, you know, I keep staring at the 75-gallon nano. All the fish are out. We'll take a look here in a minute. I know, I've missed going live too. It's just, I don't know. It seems kind of weird to go live from upstairs and not have any fish to show you. I don't know what that crash was. It must be my kids. It's weird to go live and not be able to show you guys fish, and I'm just not sure that my connection out to the greenhouse is good enough to take you guys out there, so I haven't bothered. But eventually I'd like to try that too, because let me tell you, there is fry in every single tub except for one. Yeah, that's all guppy grass. It's just like choked with guppy grass. I haven't messed with it. It's one that eventually I'll have to empty out to redo, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. Not a big priority because I haven't gotten any fish in anyway. But I spent a few hours down here today just trying to clean some things up and control some chaos. If you follow me on Instagram, at Ms. Jinx, you'll have maybe seen my story this week of the giant flood that happened down here. Our water heater died, so we didn't have hot water for about a week, which was super glamorous. My poor husband was coming home from work at night and then trying to troubleshoot and then replace and then replumb our hot water heater. So today we are back in action, so I was able to get down here and do more significant water changes, which was great. I still have to take it very easy. I can't really climb around on ladders, can't really carry anything, but I can get down here and I can work in the tanks, at least if I take it easy and take breaks. So that is progress, and after the past 7.5 weeks, I'll take it. Have I done a video on white cloud minnow breeding? I've done a species spotlight on white clouds. I've shown fry of white clouds. I've shown various life stages of white clouds, but I haven't done a specific breeding video on white clouds. So I guess no. But everything's looking pretty good down here. There's still several more tanks to break down. Ran out of time before surgery. I really want to change things up down here and restructure and make it more, have better sound quality, you know, have it look a bit more polished. This fish room, if you guys have been with me for a while, you know that it's sort of grown exponentially over the years. I was never intending to have a fish room. I was never intending to have this many aquariums. But here we are. So I think what I want to do is try and take it down in stages so that I can rebuild it and make it a lot more functional and better for both YouTube and for me. Any tips on moving across the country with your nano planted tanks? I would probably bag any of the inhabitants, fish or shrimp, like you would to ship them. Drain the tank as low as possible, cover it with some, assuming it's heavily planted, cover it with some saran wrap, and take a spray bottle, and anytime you stop, just spray it down to keep things humid, and then set it up as soon as you get there. There's not a lot of great ways to move established aquariums otherwise, unless you're willing to completely break them down. Bigger tanks are trickier than little tanks because little tanks are less likely to break than the bigger ones. Have I ever done a species spotlight on black skirts? No, I don't keep a whole lot of that size fish in the fish room. It's mainly teeny tiny stuff or monster stuff. I mean, there is hundreds and hundreds of species of fish that I could do species spotlights on if I broke into the more like general community sized fish. But I don't generally work with those fish. What do I think of an outdoor pond with Borelli? I think that would work fine. I mean, Apistos should do really well outdoors. I would just make sure that you have some structure in the bottom of the tub in order for them to set up their breeding territory, and a lot of underwater plants for fry to hide in. With the great amount of available food through water bugs and things like that, you're going to get a really good growth rate, exceptional color, and more spawning activity easier than you do indoors. Did I move my chair? You know, I have not been the one that's been down here taking care of things, so everything looks like it's in a different place to me, but I think it's probably in about the same place. It looks different because there used to be a rack of tanks here, which is gone. So now we can see the big boys tank behind us instead of a rack of smaller tanks. What do I feed my gars? I feed them pellets. Gar can be challenging to get off of live food, but it can be done. And the thing with them, I mean, unless it's like a teeny tiny baby, they can go on hunger strike for quite a while. What I like to do when I was training mine is drop pellets at the same time as I would live food, and I would generally do more like worms than fish, because feeder fish just aren't super awesome to feed fish in general. And then I would start dropping pellets at the same time as the live. The gar would strike at the live food, end up getting pellets, realize it was food, and over time they accept the pellet. Oh, there go my lights. We'll have to turn those back on. Why are they going off so early? Everything's all wonky down here. Best starter size tank in fish. The biggest you can go, the better, if I'm being honest. You know, it depends on your space and everything. Let's go. Shoot. Let's go. Whoops. Hey, come back here. I don't know why it's doing this. We're gonna, I'm using that crazy gimbal thing that my husband got me. I haven't used it in forever, and I think I have it on the wrong setting. Let's take this opportunity to look in some tanks while I'm standing up. The 150. I think it's looking pretty good. Now, apparently, I guess I just realized my lights have been going off after only about 4 hours, which explains why some of my plants aren't looking super fantastic. I'll have to get into my central timer and fix that. I noticed, especially in this tank, that a lot of the plants that were over here have sort of disappeared the past 2 months that I've been out. But now I know why. I just hadn't really gotten to investigate. But all the fish in here, there's a rhinogobius for you. All the fish in here have been doing really, really well, or so it seems. Another rhinogobius and a Soelia. I had thrown in all those aramizons, the little fire eye loaches. They're in here too. There's a little Stiphodon, Atropurus. There's a little female rhinogobius. There's a silver coolie loach right here. There's a cobitus, spiny loach right there. And of course the yellowfin shiners and rainbow shiners. I moved all the white clouds outside. I can't see the chat when I do this, so after I show you guys around a bit, we'll go back to me paying closer attention to the chat. It's kind of sporadic showing up on my screen here. And then we have the big boys over here. Now, the reason I'm going live today instead of putting out a video is because their filter on this aquarium went haywire this morning, and got airlocked, And it took me like 2 hours of cursing at the top of my lungs to get everything going again. And I just plain ran out of time. I have to head out of town this afternoon to pick my daughter, my diving daughter, up from the Navy to take her to Zones, which is a pretty big deal diving competition. Where's the little gar? Oh, he's up there. There's the little gar. It's not so little anymore. And look, something about this current light cycle is making my brush algae come back. Of course, now that I have that giant plant in there, I'm not so sure I want it to come back. But there it is. It's not as pretty as it was before. Before it was like a blue-black color. These guys got fed really heavily last night, so they're all being kind of lumps today. It's my favorite one. And then I have a lot of empty tanks right now. This one has just some Endler fry. This one just has some apple snails and a few odds and ends. This one has those Phoenix tetras, which I really wanted to move outside, but it was so cold I didn't get to move them out. I guess I still could, but I think they're pretty. This tank's empty. Down here are some odds and ends and ancestris fry, some ember tetras, just a whole bunch of stuff. Then we have the Shelleys. With the sardine cichlids. Everybody's doing really well in here. You can see the tanks are all pretty clean. It doesn't look too bad. You wouldn't know that I've been out of here for like 2 months. No, I mean, of course they have been getting maintenance, but not like they normally would. There's baby fish everywhere in this tank. Thank you, Crystal, for the super chat. Venus flytraps actually need a cool down period. They need a winter dormancy, so I keep them outside, but I do tend to cover them with winter cloth. If you live in a warmer region, or if you're keeping them indoors as like a windowsill plant, you need to make sure that they get at least 45 days of about 45 degrees or cooler. A lot of people will take them out of their potting medium and put them in the refrigerator for those 45 days and then replant them. But mine, I overwinter outdoors. These are the black neons and a bunch of apistos, some various quarries, and snails. Here's the super red ancestris. They're looking awesome, and if you guys remember when I went out for surgery, those are those teeny tiny fry. They're not so teeny anymore. They're of saleable size at this point. You can see there's Big Daddy. That's the dominant male. Down here are a bunch of shrimp, which it's going to be difficult to focus on. You see the wild bees. Tanks with the Endler fry are 20 gallons. Yeah, I'm keeping a bunch of shrimp. I can't climb a ladder to show you guys the top row, but this is that black darter tank. You can see there's one of the black darters there. Get as close as I can. These guys, whoops, I scared them away. They are absolutely stunning. And this tank looks fantastic. See how nice and mature the fish have gotten, and how thick the plants are. It really looks good. Then we have, this is my tangerine tiger tank. This is my Panoculus tank. We're not going to be able to see them, I don't think, because can't climb a ladder. This is chili rasboras, and then a whole bunch of embers. Then we have what did my husband call them? The blacktail killers, and the zeppelins, and the panthers, or something like that. Everybody's doing really well in here. Then we have Captain Cranky Pants and Whiskey, who's down there. Captain's in particularly nice coloration today because he got a big volume water change, and once he gets over it and isn't angry anymore, he always looks really fantastic. And then we have the retirement community, which is doing well. And the baby Endleys, which are getting quite a bit bigger. There's 6 of them in here. They all seem to be about the same size at this point, which means the ones that were smaller have caught up, which is good news for me. Because they can have some real significant aggression issues. Yeah, Billy, Captain's always telling all the other fish to get off his lawn. He's a grumpy guy. This is the L173B tank. You can see one, which is a zebra type pleco. There's one right there. That's empty. And here are Malawi shrimp, which there's no way we'll ever be able to focus. Oh, I lied. There's a shrimp. You can see it in the middle. And then we have, I'm going to sit back down, the 75-gallon. Which is what I've missed so much from sitting down here in my chair, is watching all these fish. Because what I don't always, what I'm not always able to capture on video is just how active this tank is in all levels. You see the barred pencils up here doing their thing, green neons all through the middle, the otocinclus, which are almost always schooling around down here, and then the apisto pair. And look how fat those otos are. There's the apisto male underneath that log, with a harem of otos. Can't wait to be able to get back into this and set up my 75-gallon Asian tank and all the other model communities I want to do. Look how nice that apisto's gotten, though. See all the blue on his cheek? Remember when I put him in there, he didn't look like much of anything at all? You know, I don't know if I've gotten any breeding from the apistos. I would have thought I would by now, but I haven't been down here enough to know. I do have an apisto cave in there, as well as all the various hidey holes. I did see the female earlier today, which means they don't have fry right now. But it doesn't mean that they... Oh, there's the giant oto, the Hypoptoma gulaire. See it in the middle on the wood there? Blends in real well. That's a really cool fish. But yeah, this tank, it really has grown in well, and I just love it. It's exactly how I wanted it to turn out, which doesn't always happen. I have a feeling everything in this aquarium's breeding. The thing with keeping a community aquarium is that you never, you know, it's not the best way to raise fry. You'll see young fish show up from time to time, but if you really want to breed fish, you should really do it in a breeding aquarium so that you can either remove the parents or remove the fry after hatching. Otherwise, you know, any of these fish would predate on the other fish's eggs and babies. So, you know, I probably won't see a whole lot of young fish in here unless I were to pool them. I'm gonna flip things around here since I'm sitting back down. If I can figure it out. There we go. You guys see my shirt? This is a gift from, it says 520 Boost. It's a gift from one of the people that came to see me in Toronto. You Canadians, I know, often have a difficult time sourcing plants. If you go to their Facebook page, this is a Canadian company, 520 Boost. And I believe they ship and everything, so if you're looking for aquatic plants in Canada, that's a good source for you. let's see what I missed here. Do I have any problem with the pistos eating smaller fish? No, not really. Let's see if I missed any questions, or if you asked a question, please ask it again so that I can try and address it. Issues with angels. They struggle swimming downwards. That's peculiar. I would definitely do a water change and make sure the temperature is not too high. Will the mohawk be making a comeback? Probably not. You know, I really loved my mohawk, but what I didn't love about having a mohawk is that everyone and their brother wanted to talk about my mohawk. And let me tell you, it gets real boring real quick, having to talk about a mohawk in every conversation. I mean, it's just hair. And I understand that it's fantastic hair. But, you know, when you're pumping gas at a gas station and the person next to you wants to talk to you about your mohawk, or you find people taking your picture like on the sly through their car windows, it's just stupid. I really do miss it, but I don't miss it being the topic of conversation. I mean, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm over, like, having to talk about my hair all the time. Yeah, the crib tank was the retirement community. I only showed it briefly. The gar tank's doing good. We looked at that too. I'll make sure that this is uploaded afterwards, so if anybody wants to see any of the aquariums that they missed, they can watch that and catch back up. Peacock gudgeons, any of the smaller danios or cyprinids, any of the rasboras are good with peacock gudgeons. In the biker tank, the baby bikers or the big boys? The giant fern in with the big boys is bulbitis, which is an African water fern. With the babies, it's cladophora algae. It's a moss ball that I attached to a piece of driftwood. None of the tubs have problems. One of the tubs has fish that were immature, so they're just not quite of size to breed yet. Probably by the end of the season they will be. Am I planning on redoing the big boys filtration? I need to build the big boys a bigger tank. I had a dream about it last night, ironically. I'm thinking maybe what I should do is move the Hillstream tank where the big boys are now, because I took down all the tanks underneath the Hillstream tank, and then that means I could maybe build an 8-foot tank where those are opposite my shipping station, and then the big boys could have a bigger tank, and I could set them up in like a baby pool down here while I'm building. Otherwise, the only other option for a bigger tank for the big boys is to take out this row of aquariums and build it there, and then put aquariums in where the big boys are. But regardless, the tank will have to be built down here because the 7x2x2 is the largest aquarium that can physically fit down our basement steps. Thank you for the super chat, Clockwork Brigadier. Thank you. I'm pretty excited for my daughter. The last diving vlog I did for her was the qualifier for this event this weekend. We'll be in Lynchburg, Virginia. Have Joey guest star and build one. I am sure that Joey would be happy to help me out, be it through advice or physical stuff. We're pretty far apart. Like, it's a day of flying to get together. I would love to have him out. But I have to be honest, if I'm going to get him here to visit, I don't know if I really want to put him to work. I'd rather hang out and talk fish. Plus, I still have to get him back for that shocking game, so we'll have to see. Am I feeding live food to the outdoor tubs? The outdoor tubs are full of Daphnia, so I don't need to feed them at all. I do occasionally take out some food and sprinkle it across the surface so that I can get an idea of how many fry are in there and things like that. Thank you, Violent Cat. The baby bikers are doing awesome. I was just looking at them a minute or two ago with the camera, so you can check that out later. They are all about the same size now, and they're getting big. They're about yay big now, so maybe 6 or 7 inches, which is quite an impressive growth, I think. Losing CPD fry around week 2. Are you pulling them from the parents or trying to raise them with the parents? With CPD, I find it easiest to raise the babies apart from the adults and make sure you have micro worms or baby brine or something like that to be able to feed them. Thank you, Linda. Will I resume shipping soon? I am eager to be back at work. I can tell you guys, you know, I stopped shipping around December, partially because it was so dramatically cold here and partially because my knee had just gotten so bad. I was falling down all the time. I never anticipated being out of work for this long. And I think realistically, probably another month, probably 2 months, maybe even longer before I can really get back to shipping fish. The biggest obstacle is that standing on the concrete down here, even with the padding I have down, my knee swells up almost immediately, and it can take 6 months to a year for that to really sort of regulate. The other problem is I'm not physically capable yet of carrying all the boxes back up the stairs. I can't climb ladders to be able to net, and I just don't have the endurance that I need. You know, I would love to be back at work because let me tell you, the bills don't stop just because you don't have any money coming in. So I'll get back to it as soon as I can. As soon as I can really maintain top levels of tanks and I get some things restructured down here, I'll set up more tanks and then I'll do a fish order, get some stuff in so it's quarantined and ready to go for when I can relaunch. But I mean, again, it could be, you know, end of summer, it could be fall, it could be winter. It all depends on what my knee does. I'm having some pretty nasty nerve complications. But it seems like we finally have that a bit under control. My doctor put me on a new medication, and then we fiddled around with the dosage over the past week, and I'm walking today without a cane, which is huge progress. And my pain levels are totally manageable at this point, which is really huge progress, because a week ago I couldn't say that. So we're getting there. Trust me, I'm eager to get back to it. I mean, you know, I'm bored. I would love to be working. Roots looking fresh. Yeah. No color. I just haven't bothered. I didn't know what color I wanted to do. I'm just not feeling particularly inspired. I'm not very good at resting. I've been working a job since I was 12 years old, often more than one job at a time, and this enforced relaxation is freaking miserable for me. Any problems with tanks while I'm recovering? No. Actually, my husband has done an amazing job. I'm pretty impressed. Now, some of them are kind of dirty. Well, some of the plants need to be pruned. There's some algae in some tanks. I have blue-green algae in one tank that I need to address. But I haven't, as far as I know, I haven't lost any fish. I think I may have lost one of those 15-year-old neons because I don't see the 2 that were in there. I only see the 1, but it could just be hiding somewhere else. And one of the Zeppelins, one of the Leatacara doesn't look too hot, but it's also the one that gets chased all the time. But otherwise, I mean, as far as I can tell, everything's good down here. You can see I'm not looking as in terrible pain. Yeah, you know, so the goal after a knee replacement, or so I'm told, is for them to have your pain levels at about a 4 on a 10-point scale. Mine was staying routinely with medication at a 7, which is, if you've ever had chronic pain, you know that's not really a level that is very conducive to being able to hide it. It was pretty gnarly, and it was just in the last few days that we've been able to get my pain levels down to about a 3, which for me, I haven't been a 3 since I was in high school. I mean, I've had chronic pain for the past 22 years, and you know, anywhere from a 5 to 7 on that pain scale. So I relate, Tanya. It's brutal when you have chronic pain that bad, but to then have surgery, and you know, all these people are like, oh, my so-and-so had this surgery and 2 weeks out, they're walking and they feel better than ever. And here I am 7.5 weeks out, or at 7 weeks out, you know, I felt worse than I did before surgery. I'd lost 10 degrees of my range of motion because of the nerve spasms I'm having. It was causing these fist-sized lumps to pop out behind my knee. So I lost 10 degrees of the range of motion. I'm going to PT every other day. I'm doing exercises all throughout the day for my knee, and it's getting worse. So I was at a kind of a low point last week, really struggling in my head. I saw the doctor, and he put me on these new meds for my nerve damage. And I can finally say, like, I see that this was worth doing. I don't hurt nearly as bad. I'm making progress. I regained the 10 degrees of motion that I lost through my recovery. So I can now, the problem I was having is I couldn't straighten my leg anymore. And when I saw my doctor, he's like, if you don't get this back, like now, you're going to have a permanent severe limp and you'll never get that back. Which, you know, is not really what you want to hear when you're doing everything you can and your body's fighting against you. So it is what it is. But I'm looking forward to this being behind me. You know, I also think that I was in a huge amount of denial going into this surgery. I think I told myself that I'm young, I'm healthy, you know, I'm in good shape. And I just so desperately wanted to heal quicker than the average person that I told myself by middle of June, I'll be right back in it. But here it is, end of June, and I'm just now starting to walk without a cane. So gotta be real, and you know, it's very isolating. You know, I haven't heard from hardly any people that know me in real life. Had very few visitors. So it's just been, you know, my kids are super busy. It's just been horribly boring. I did get the outline for my next book completely done. I just need to get images and input it into like a template in order to have it published. Thank you for the super chat, Christian. But yeah, this hasn't gone exactly as planned, but feeling a lot better now. The problem I was having with writing is I couldn't sit in a chair, not like a plastic chair like our kitchen chairs or like a hard chair. With the nerve damage I have, anything touching the back of my leg was intolerable, and also with the nerve damage I have, anything touching the front of my leg was intolerable. So my husband bought me this like lap desk for the bed, but it still touched my leg. So, you know, I can write now, I can type now, but I actually wrote it all out pen and paper style because I couldn't sit at a computer until this week. Do I like arowana? Yes. I don't have any, and I don't plan on getting any. If I were to put in another giant tank, I would probably get more. I would probably get something like stingrays over arowana. What I'm really excited about is to get back in action and get all my resources rebuilt, you know, getting a bunch more hardscapes so that I can start having some guests come in and aquascape. To figure out the logistics of that, who I can afford to bring into the fish room. I can't really expect them to pay for it, but I don't really have any money, so we'll have to see what we can work out. 8 back surgeries. Ugh. I'm sorry to hear that. That's just miserable. Big boys are doing great. I can show you Captain Cranky Pants right now. There we go. Captain, the people want to see you. Why are you sulking? The problem with Patreon is that I don't feel like I have anything additional to share there. I'm already doing 3 videos a week, and when I get back into it, it'll be 3 videos a week. Plus my live stream. That's already a ton of work. I do have a donation button on my website that I link to, you know, but it is what it is. the YouTube money is covering the electricity that I use down here at least, so I'm not, you know, I'm not working into the red, but I'm certainly not making any money. I don't know why he's being all moody. You guys saw him earlier. He looked all beautiful. Now he's being moody. Silly fish. Someone asked to see the crib tank. If any tanks benefited from less water changes, I don't think so. Nothing spawned. That I'm aware of anyway. Thanks, Jay. I didn't spend enough time in front of his tank. He has gotten so much attention today. I don't know why he's being such a weenie right now. But that's Captain for you. That's how he earned his name. He's either mean and nasty, adorable, or pouting. Odessa barbs do really well outside in tubs. I moved them out last year, but they weren't fully mature, and I couldn't catch them from this tub in time, or this tank in time to move them out this year. There's some Odessas and some panda barbs in there that are super cute. Kate Lillo asked, was wondering if you could give us my thoughts on the responsibility of novice breeders to find suitable homes for animals they bring into existence. Do you mean fish? I would really encourage people, if they're breeding fish, to join a fish club so that they have a good outlet for selling their offspring. Shipping fish is not easy, and it is a learning curve. Some folks will keep a larger fish, like Captain Cranky Pants, that can eat the fish that are that need to be culled. When you breed fish, you know, inherently there's going to be some offspring that are inferior and should not go out into circulation and possibly be bred again. And that's part of the reason I have like my retirement tank and a few things like that. But I really feel like before you, the reality is most inexperienced people aren't going to have massive success breeding anything. But if you're a member of a fish club, that's really the best way to get rid of. Oh, now you can see my feet. Put my leg up. Get rid of your extra fish. Seed shrimp or ostracods, are they like Daphnia? They are like Daphnia, except for most fish can't eat them because they stick so tightly to the glass. Swing it around so I can see the chat again. Oh, you see the hot water heater sitting in the middle of my fish room. As if the bed was attacking a mug. That's silly. All right. Any other questions? This isn't going to work for me to be able to see the chat. Hey, Chuck. I do take on a lot of breeders' fish. I'll buy them wholesale if they're breeding them in the U.S. so that I can get them. But, you know, I don't think there's a whole lot that's unethical about breeding a lot of fish. You just have to have plans for them. Oh, wisdom teeth out. That's not too bad. The pain is miserable from it, but yeah, Chuck has plenty of fish. I buy some of my Epistos from Chuck. So if any of you guys are in the Buffalo area, upstate New York, I know a great Episto breeder there. I don't get limpets in my tank, no. I get very few pests, but again, you know, normally when I'm down here all the time doing my regular maintenance, I don't have hardly any pests. I want those honeycombs, Chuck. The Tatia peruviae, are you guys familiar with the little honeycomb catfish? They're a wood cat out of Peru. They're so stinking cute. I actually sold Chuck the ones that I planned to keep for myself. Darren, your messages are visible. I'm not sure what I've missed. The chat goes by pretty quick, and I'm looking at a cell phone without my glasses on. Do any fish eat 60 peruviae, Chuck? Good for you, man. think it was about maybe a 6-hour drive to where you are. It's not too bad. If you get really desperate, maybe I could like meet you halfway kind of thing if that's worth it. We'll have to talk about it. Mardell Parashield. I'm not sure what Parashield is. Or do you mean Paragard? No, I don't work with mollies. The only live bearers I like to work with are the Endler's live bearers. I used to work with some of the Gudaids, some of the Mexican live bearers. A lot of those are critically threatened, but my water is relatively dilute and it's not necessarily ideal for most live bearers without some work going into it to increase the mineralization. I do have the least killies as well, which are a live bearer. How big do you think Farluella fry should be before you ship them? I like them to be, gosh, with Farluella, at least 1.5 inches. Farluella are dumb as rocks. So let them have a couple inches before you try and sell them, or they're probably gonna do poorly. Lost so much weight. Are you on a keto diet? I'm not on keto because keto is too restrictive. I mean, they're like Nazis with the rules for keto. I am doing a low carb, high fat, but that's how I ate like before I had kids and had to constantly like, before my kids could cook for themselves as well. So I went back to the way that I ate until I had kids basically, and the weight just melted off. The Endlers are outside in the greenhouse. There's just some fry in here, which is not particularly exciting to look at because they're basically colorless fish. I have some wild guppies too. But again, they're not much to look at. They're not very colorful. Have I ever sold plants and aquascapes in Hawaii? No. Hawaii's really tricky. Even to get fish, you have to get permits through the local government, and then I have to attach that permit, both the outside and inside of the box. So you have to have the species you're getting approved. Shipping in live plants that aren't tissue culture would be an absolute no-no, and even some of the hardscape materials may be difficult to get to you. Just because of the plant, of like the APHIS laws. So you'd have to look into that on your end as to the legality of getting it in. Your best bet would probably be to find a store or a few other people to go in and buy things in bulk. What states are the most difficult to ship to? I think it's Maine that has some crazy restrictions on invertebrates. Oregon does. Obviously, places like Hawaii and Alaska are challenging for different reasons. Hawaii because they require a lot of permits. Alaska because it's almost always 2-day, even with the fastest method. And then shipping to Nevada is really tough for some reason. I think it's the heat there. But otherwise, they're all pretty much the same. Yeah, you live in Maine. You guys can't. I can't have crayfish either. But anything with pinchers, and then there's any state that is near one of the Great Lakes can be a real pain in the butt because they have a lot of issues with people dumping aquarium pets into local waterways, which can be super devastating. Yeah, nothing with soil. That's usually how it goes. Now the thing. You can get phyto certificates for some stuff, but it's not easy. Trematodes in soil. Yeah, and that's what the APHIS laws are all about, is plants and plant pests. I already answered that question, Darren, about the older water. No, I don't see any benefit to them getting less water changes. In fact, things are perking back up from getting water changes. I haven't seen any real benefit, but I don't have any, oh, look at those others. I don't have any tanks set up with catfish specifically to breed. Doing that sort of dry cycle into a rainy season does get some catfish species spawning. Congratulations on the Maltese, Jake. Have I ever used garlic? I've used garlic as an appetite stimulant. Garlic has something called allicin in it, and the allicin changes the pH of the gut. In order for it to do that, you have to feed a ton of it, and at which point it can make the guts inhospitable to parasites, but it's not a reliable treatment. It's really great as an appetite stimulant, but otherwise, no. White goldfish in the tubs, I don't know. I don't work with goldfish. I guess it depends on how big they are and how hungry they are. I would think it would be okay, but I don't really know. I don't really work with goldfish. Could ask Jenny on one of her videos. She'd be able to tell you. You see that snail out of the water? It's a mystery snail. Silly thing. Any other questions for me? I'm starting to get sore. Probably have about 10 or 15 minutes left before I gotta go. I still have to pack. I don't work with many killifish because I don't use lids on my aquariums, and a lot of killies really are jumpy. So I've worked with clown killies and some of the West African types, but not many. If I'm sore, stop. Yeah, I know. I will. I'm probably sore from doing too many water changes today, not from going live, but I have several hours to drive tonight with my daughter, which I'm really dreading. That's guppy grass. You want me to show you guys? Let's see if we can figure this out. Ouch. I can swing around in my chair. See? Whoops. That's all guppy grass. This is a 75-gallon full of guppy grass. Guppy grass that I didn't even put in there intentionally. Somehow a piece got in there and it just colonized this entire tank. That's the floor of the tank, all the way up to the water surface. Guppy grass. That's why it makes such a great spawning mop, though. This tank had been, at one point, aquascaped. So, yeah, it's a perfect haven. There's not any fish in this aquarium, though. Just mystery snails. Look at this dude. I'm not sure if you can see. It's cleaning the surface, probably getting ready to lay a clutch. You have a 40 breeder like that? Yeah, part of the reason I haven't messed with it is this is a tank that I generally keep my wood cats in, Chuck. For some reason they do well in this tank. Pogostem and octopus goes gangbusters too. I love that plant. I don't think I have any anymore. I shared it with a ton of people. I'll have to look through my records and see who I shared it with, see if I can get some back. That's a great plant. I mean, a weed. It grows like crazy. But a really fantastic plant. Fluval sent me this little shrimp tank. I don't know what to do with it. It's just been sitting there. Having trouble keeping habrosis. You know, I hear that from a lot of people, and I think one of the issues, let's see if I can get myself back in focus here. One of the issues with a lot of the dwarf cories is that when they're imported usually in bags of about 600 fish, in a bag that's about this big with about this much water. And they get really badly ammonia burned, so they're really fragile when they hit the stores. So one of the things that I do when I get in fresh habrosis or pygmaeus and my otocinclus is I drop the water level in my quarantine tank, so it's only maybe about 6 inches deep. And this makes it easier for those dwarf cories to get to the surface to get their breaths. And I also feed them powdered foods. So I broadcast it all over the water surface. It settles all over everything in the tank, so they have to expend very little energy in order to eat. And I do daily large volumes water changes. And over the course of like 1 to 2 weeks, you know, you either lose some or you don't. Usually I lose very few, and then I can increase the water height to where the tank should be. But it seems like doing those two things, really lowering the water line, cranking up the oxygen, and broadcasting powdered foods on every surface, helps them have a better, more vital start. Send the shrimp tank to you. I thought about doing a giveaway with it, but I'm not very good at giveaways. I don't know how people do them and make it so easy. There's got to be some way that's easier than me manually inputting all the entries, because I can tell you that is an awful lot of work. So I don't know. I also thought about doing an open house and using it as a raffle prize. I thought about donating it to some of the aquarium clubs. Answered a question earlier about moving. Terrified of bagging them wrong. Just remember with bagging that you need 1/3 water to 2/3 air. You could also get a battery powered air stone and put them in a bucket with a little bit of water and a lid with holes drilled in it. But the problem with doing them in buckets and stuff is they slosh so much, especially with smaller fish. That sloshing and stuff is not very good for them. So that's why I really prefer to bag them up so that you can use a lot of packaging materials to hold them a bit stiller so it's less stressful and bumpy of a ride. 20-hour drive is a heck of a drive. I mean, the other thing you could do is if there's someone local that that ships, you could always have someone ship them to you after you move. And yeah, there are random number generators for giveaways, but you still have to input all the you know, assign all the numbers and keep track. So, you know, I'm sure that there's a solution. Happy birthday, Michael. Moro, I don't know how to say your last name. 11 years old. Congratulations. Happy birthday, we say in this house. How would I promote the hobby in my state? Are you asking me, like, what I do? Yeah, everybody wish Michael a happy birthday. Coolie loaches climb the glass, but they don't really gulp air that much. I promote the hobby in my state. I'm a member of a ton of clubs. I go to a ton of clubs. I lecture for free all over the place. Yeah, save it for my next barbecue. I think that's what I'll probably end up doing. I haven't kept sticklebacks. I'm glad to see everyone wishing him a happy birthday. No club in your city? I drive 2 hours to my favorite fish club. Each way. Haven't been in a while. I used to go every month. But if my rhinogobia spread, I don't know. Hey, Kirby. Thank you. The new meds are helping a lot. I'm scared of my new meds, though, because I'm not on any painkillers anymore, but the new meds are another one that can be addictive, so it's like, great. But I can tell you, without them, I wasn't walking, and with them, I can. Yeah, I've worked with some of the chocolate gouramis. Oh no, Pie Mama, you have to get rid of your tanks. I'm so sorry to hear that. I relate though. I feel like I've been fishless even though all these guys have been down here. I haven't gotten to see them hardly at all. Sacramento's a good club. Is that the Pacific Coast Club? Pacific Coast Aquarium Society? I think it's called. No, I'm not. Am I going to sell again? Yes, when I can. You know, I can't rush it. Let me show you guys my scar if you want to see it. Not sure how well it'll show up on there. It's a pretty gnarly scar. It's no joke. I fell yesterday, which was awesome. Broke open a part of it, but No, the scar looks great. And, you know, since they put me on this nerve medicine, the swelling's gone down. And again, PT every other day. And they use H-Wave on me, which is a type of muscle stimulation that one set of electrodes helps with pain and the other with swelling. So it's doing pretty well. Oh, Bucks County, you should definitely go. There's some really great people in that club. Very friendly club. You will have a great time if you go. I think usually at their picnic, they do a little field collecting as well. They also set up a bunch of different, like, local native collecting trips. Congratulations, Cameron. And Chuck, yeah, it does. It takes a long time to recover. Always more time than you think. You know, and unfortunately, I had a few things working against me with this knee. Very extensive damage already to the nerves and the blood supply from so many previous surgeries. So it's not at all shocking I'm having the problems I am, but it's just so disappointing. I just want everything to be normal again. Thank you, tall but short. What time is it? Oh, good. It's almost 2 o'clock. I can't believe I've done this for an hour already. Oddball aquatics, 3 knee surgeries before I was 18. Yeah, I had my first one at 17, then another one at 19, then one at, I want to say like 20, and then I had an ACL repair and a partial rebuild when I was 25, and then they told me before I had the second surgery that knee replacement was in my future, but, you know, I would have to wait until I was old enough. And I guess 39 is old enough. I don't know why that's any particularly, you know, really that much better than being 25. You know, but I have a feeling if I would have had this surgery, you know, 15, 20 years ago, while I would have had to have revisions or have it done more than once, my quality of life would have been so much better. But after 10 years of bone-on-bone grinding, I just couldn't take it anymore, and they finally were, you make 40 next month. I turned 40 in September. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how I got so old. Well, it's not really old, but I don't know how I'm going to be 40. It just doesn't seem right. One p.m. in Kansas. Yeah, it's almost 2 here. You wish you could be 40 again? Yeah, you know, I look at my kids. Our oldest is 21, and I'm like, what the heck? How did that happen? September 3rd, I'm September 15th. Yay, Virgos. I actually share a birthday with Jenna Marbles, which I just found out. I think that's pretty cool. See? All these Virgos coming through. When do I go back to my crazy hair color? I don't know. When I feel inspired. You know, when I've just been laying around so much, not doing anything, not going anywhere. I don't see the point of dyeing it. Yeah, Voramate, Hong Suan, I think that should be fine as long as you retain consistent. Pond pests, I'm going to try and do for Tuesday. The problem is like the people that are into the summer tubbing videos are really into them, but the people who have no interest in doing it don't watch. So the problem I'm having in summer tubbing season is that the engagement's good, meaning those of you that really like it watch it and, you know, engage with the video, but my views aren't doing super awesome. And I know it shouldn't really matter, but playing that game with YouTube and getting those views and the thumbs ups and the shares is how they reward you in recommending. Only 50% of you guys are actually subscribed to my channel. When I look at my stats, only half the people are subscribed that actually watch regularly. So, You know, I need those recommendeds from YouTube, so I have to try and mix it up. I may see if I can get a few more tanks emptied and do some sort of build or I don't know what as well soon. Oh, tips on clearing up water in a newly dirted tank. Try not to disturb that substrate. What a mess. But it is 2 o'clock. I have to pack, and I haven't even been out to the greenhouse yet today to check on things. I need to get going on that. So I will try and do another one of these next week. Let me know after this is uploaded in the comments, or now in the comments, what time of day is best for you. Include the time zone, otherwise I'll have no idea what you're talking about. But thank you guys so much for those of you that joined me here today. It was fun finally being back down here to show you guys the tanks. Everything's going pretty well. But I have to get to work slowly but surely. So I will talk to you guys later.